A former referee, once respected for his years of service on the court, stepped forward with allegations that could rock the very foundation of women's basketball. According to him, what fans have been watching for years might not have been competition, it was choreography. Beneath the bright lights and roaring crowds, he claimed, game outcomes were quietly manipulated, influenced by invisible hands working behind the league's polished image. From questionable foul calls to bizarre officiating trends, it now appears that these moments may have been more than simple human error. They might have been signs of something far more orchestrated. When the referee went public, the sports world froze. His interview, raw and unsettling, described a culture where fairness was optional and influence was everything. He explained how referees were allegedly instructed to watch certain players more closely or to let particular teams build momentum when TV ratings demanded excitement. It wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about business. Behind closed doors, he claimed, league officials pressured referees to keep games interesting, even if it meant bending the integrity of competition. Without ever naming names, the whistleblower's tone made it clear that the orders came from high up, possibly from Commissioner Cathy Engelbert herself. Though he never spoke her name directly, the implication was unmistakable. The corruption, if real, was systemic. As his words spread across social media, fans who had long questioned certain calls began connecting the dots. Suddenly, every controversial whistle against a rising star or every suspicious comeback in a televised matchup seemed to carry new weight. The phrase "rigged for ratings" began trending online. Analysts reviewed hundreds of hours of footage, uncovering patterns that couldn't be dismissed as coincidence. Teams with star power and sponsorship appeal received a strikingly higher number of favorable calls, while underdogs seemed punished at critical moments. Even more damning were the leaked emails circulating online, documents that hinted at league officials discussing the need to maintain competitive balance for broadcast purposes. Though unverified, their language sounded eerily consistent with the whistleblower's claims. The allegations reached a fever pitch when gambling entered the conversation. According to insiders, certain WNBA games appeared to align suspiciously well with massive betting swings. Point spreads and over-under predictions were being hit with unnerving precision, as though someone knew the results in advance. The whistleblower hinted that sensitive internal data might have been leaked to betting networks, connecting referees to external influences. It was a claim that carried chilling parallels to the infamous NBA gambling scandal years ago. One former NBA referee, who had himself been caught in such controversy, even warned that the WNBA was on the same dangerous path. He reminded the public that once gambling money infiltrates a league, it poisons everything: fairness, reputation, even the safety of those involved. Meanwhile, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert's silence only deepened the public's suspicion. For weeks, as the story dominated sports headlines, she remained quiet. No interviews, no detailed statements, only carefully crafted press releases filled with vague reassurances. To fans, it felt corporate and hollow, the voice of damage control rather than leadership. Journalists pressed for answers, demanding transparency, but Engelbert's reluctance to speak only amplified the outrage. Her reputation as a business-minded leader, once an asset, was now her greatest liability. Critics accused her of treating the WNBA not as a league of athletes, but as a product, a spectacle managed for profit. And if the allegations were true, it meant that athletes who had dedicated their lives to the sport were being used as pawns in a scripted game designed to serve the league's bottom line. Then came the moment that changed everything. In a televised interview, the whistleblower named specific games, dates, and even individuals allegedly involved in manipulating results. He described an incident during a primetime broadcast when a courtside supervisor told referees through headset communication to keep it close after one team began to pull away. The reason? Ratings. He revealed that referees who followed such directives were rewarded with playoff assignments, the most lucrative officiating opportunities, while those who refused were quietly blacklisted. To back his claims, he provided what he called an internal memo referring to narrative-driven engagement. The document spoke of protecting fan interest and maintaining competitive pacing, corporate euphemisms that, if genuine, confirmed everything fans feared. Within hours, social media erupted. Hashtags like Our Rigged League and WNBA Exposed dominated timelines. The sports world watched in disbelief as sponsors began re-evaluating their partnerships and players broke their silence. For the athletes, this wasn't just a controversy, it was betrayal. Many had spent their careers battling for recognition and respect, only to discover they might have been part of a manipulated system. Some took to social media, posting cryptic messages like, "We knew it wasn't ours to win." Others, speaking anonymously, described moments when they could feel the momentum shift in games. Not because of performance, but because of officiating. The players' union demanded an emergency meeting with Engelbert, insisting on answers and reforms. But the commissioner's response was slow and measured, her tone defensive. During her eventual press conference, she denied all wrongdoing and insisted the league's integrity remained intact. Yet her words lacked conviction, and her refusal to address specific claims only widened the gap between the league and its fans. As journalists continued investigating, they uncovered more disturbing details. Referee promotions allegedly tied to compliance, unexplained communication between league officials and gambling representatives, and internal warnings that had been ignored. The deeper they dug, the clearer it became that this wasn't just about bad officiating, it was about systemic control. Congressional leaders began calling for oversight, demanding the Department of Justice review the league's internal operations. What began as a whisper of unfairness had transformed into a national scandal, threatening to topple everything the WNBA had built over decades. Inside league headquarters, panic spread. Sources described an atmosphere of paranoia, emails being deleted, staff members warned to stay silent, and executives scrambling to contain the fallout. The once proud league that had stood as a symbol of empowerment now found itself accused of exploitation and deceit. Sponsors began to distance themselves, broadcasters cut back on coverage, and fan trust evaporated almost overnight. What was once celebrated as a triumph for women's sports now teetered on collapse. For Engelbert, the pressure became unbearable. Her carefully constructed image as the architect of the WNBA's modern era was cracking, and every public appearance felt like another test she couldn't pass. In the end, the story became bigger than basketball. It became a referendum on power, greed, and integrity. Fans who once tuned in for inspiration were left wondering whether the victories they cheered for were real or rehearsed. The league's future now hangs in the balance, and the damage may already be irreversible. The WNBA, once hailed as a symbol of progress and equality, faces its defining moment. Will it emerge stronger through reform, or will it collapse under the weight of corruption and mistrust? So what do you think? Has the WNBA been hiding the truth all along? Or is this all just a storm of speculation? Should Commissioner Cathy Engelbert step down and let investigators take over, or does the league deserve a chance to redeem itself? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to stay updated on this unfolding scandal, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because this story is far from over.